Hi, I wanted to share with you all about a tool that I use in parenting in my daily life to check in with myself about what state of consciousness I'm in, and then, once I've taken note, I attempt to make adjustments accordingly. So I got this a spiritual teaching from the Bhagavad Gita about three modes of material nature, and once I learned about it, it was like hard to stop taking note of what mode I was in. So there's three modes of material nature, and it's just really helpful. It's helpful in my daily life, in the area of my life, and also in relationships. So there's three modes, and the first mode that I'll share about is the mode of ignorance, and then higher above that is the mode of passion, and then ideally I'm reaching for operating in the mode of goodness, which is the third highest mode. So the lower mode is called the mode of ignorance, and so that is when we are ignoring, avoiding, lazy, waiting, watching, feeling like a victim, not really in charge, or like not taking charge or taking responsibility. We're just sort of avoiding and ignoring something. And so you can take a look at any area of your life. Where are you in the mode of ignorance in different areas of your life? And it's just helpful to take note. And a little later, I'll share like what you can do when you see yourself in a certain mode and you want to change. So I'll just describe that briefly though. So that's the mode of ignorance, just like ignoring, avoiding. You're sort of inactive and passive about life. And then a step above that is the mode of passion, because you are taking action. Sometimes it can be like aggressive or forceful, like you're pushing your agenda. Sometimes it can be seen as busy and over endeavoring and overworking. So the mode of passion is like action, and sometimes it's over action in some area of your life. So that's the mode of passion. And then the mode of goodness is balanced, steady, conscious, healthy, thoughtful. So that is the ideal mode to be operating under, especially if we are looking to really live our life fully and purposefully. Then we would be in a steady, balanced state. And that would be the most ideal for self-realization, for serving others. So, and speaking for myself and for most of us, we're a mix of all of these modes in different areas of our lives and different times of the day, or throughout the year, like different. So we're all a mix of these different material modes, and it's helpful to just have that knowledge, like where are you passive, where are you aggressive, where are you acting assertively in a steady, responsible way. And if I find myself in the mode of ignorance, I usually say, okay, I have a choice here. Do I want to continue with ignoring and avoiding, or some sort of form of laziness? Then I could do that, or I could go into action. And usually I'm not in a very inspired state when I'm in the mode of ignorance. So doing something simple like doing the dishes, getting up, cleaning, just kind of get myself moving, doing something positive to get back into a more healthy state of existence. So that's what I'll do when I'm in the mode of ignorance. If I choose, I have the choice, to elevate myself, to start to act, to do things. And then if I find myself in the mode of passion, usually I'm like, over endeavoring and working hard at something, and I'm going to burn myself out usually in that state. So I'll slow down, take a breath, check in with myself and see how I want to readjust, like my approach to that situation. So with the mode of ignorance, you actually like increase activity. In the mode of passion, you decrease, the intensity of your activity. And so there's like a middle ground. So yeah, the mode of goodness can be seen as the highest state. It's also seen as like the middle ground. So each mode, even the mode of goodness, and these three modes, they have a name in Sanskrit. The mode of ignorance is called tamas, the mode of passion is called rajas, and the mode of goodness is called sattva. So each of these three modes of material nature actually have pitfalls, even the mode of goodness. So I'll share a little bit about that. So in the mode of ignorance, when we choose that way of being, ignoring and avoiding, we're taking a risk that things in our life are going to add up and come back. There's basically some karma to the situation where, like, you're going to have to face something eventually because it doesn't last. It doesn't really work well to ignore, the truth. Whether it's a simple truth of the situation, like what your children need in the moment or what you need in the moment, or if it's ignoring your life purpose in like a larger scale. So it just doesn't work to stay in ignorance. So things will kind of eventually come to the surface and need to be faced. And it can be harder, like the more you ignore, you have a bigger pile of things to deal with later. So it does sort of come back to you. And then with the mode of passion, the pitfall is that you burn out. You've like overexerted yourself, exhausted yourself, overwhelmed yourself, and it's not a sustainable way to operate in the world. So that is the pitfall of being and staying in the mode of passion. So, and then the mode of goodness, there's actually a little risk there, because if your aim is to realize who you are and to serve the divine in the highest sense and to be fully living life on purpose, you could get stuck in the mode of goodness, which just looks like everything's healthy and balanced, conscious communication, healthy relationships, healthy diet, healthy, health. Your health and fitness is taken care of well. So those things are all good, and you need those things, but you could just enjoy the mode of goodness and not really live your life purpose. And you also could ignore like your spiritual purpose or your higher calling that could be, that could be uncomfortable. And the mode of goodness is really comfortable. So some people can sort of just hang out in a good, healthy place in life and not be pushing themselves to grow and to serve and have a bigger impact and to play big in the world. So the mode of goodness can be a trap in a sense, but it's definitely the best platform for realizing who you are, serving others in their self-realization, and serving the divine, serving God. So that's a little bit about the modes of material nature and how I use them as a parent. So yeah, if I find myself in the mode of goodness, then I celebrate that, I appreciate that, and I try to take note, like, oh, how did I set myself up? What actions precluded me being in the mode of goodness? And try to repeat that. Obviously, my life is a mix of all these modes. I was just talking to my sister this morning on the phone briefly, and I was like, she said, "How are you doing?" And I was joking. I said, "I'm doing psycho," because I was like, had such a good morning, many hours of being in the mode of goodness, and then I was like, oh man, I want to check out, I want to take a break now and try to avoid something. So I tried to escape through scrolling on Facebook or something. And then I was like, oh man, I don't want that. So I pushed for an agenda, and my children were like, oh, what? They weren't ready to jump on board to my, mode of passion agenda. And I was like, oh, okay, I need to take a breath and go back to the mode of goodness. So it was just sometimes I see myself throughout the day hitting all the spots, low, fast, medium, steady. So anyway, it's a process to grow. But yeah, this information is really helpful. So this is something that I use as a evaluation tool, throughout the daily life. So I thought I'd share a little bit about that, and thank you. I hope you're well. Take care.